Hi everyone, there was some Disney news I wanted to cover really quick regarding the upcoming Snow White remake, so I wanted to go through this article from Variety talking about it. A part of me wonders if the reason they kind of jumped on Lilo and Stitch so quickly, even though we haven't even gotten through Snow White yet and it's coming out this month, but now they're advertising the next live-action remake, is because they kind of want to push past Snow White as soon as possible, because it has been so controversial over the last few years. But I guess we'll just get into this article and we'll see what's going on. Disney is hosting a Hollywood premiere of Snow White on March 15th, so very soon, but the studio won't be rolling out a robust red carpet like it usually does. The afternoon festivities will include a pre-party and screening at the El Captain Theater, with titular star Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, expected to attend. However, the red carpet will not include the dozens of media outlets usually invited by Disney to interview the cast and creatives at its premieres. So basically, it's going to be an in-house premiere instead of including the wider media, which is pretty crazy. I mean, Disney has been a powerhouse of Hollywood for decades and decades, and their live-action remakes used to be billion-dollar affairs, but now it's just, they don't seem to want to bother with Snow White. And I guess given all the backlash, I'm not too surprised, but it is still, I think it says a lot. So they go on to say the studio did not comment for the story, but the scaled-back plans come amid controversies surrounding the Mark Webb-directed film. And then they have the pretty infamous Variety interview from, I think, 2022, if I remember correctly. It's either 22 or 23.
Super. It's no longer 1930s.
Okay, yeah, so right here. So during the later half of this interview, and a few other interviews, they just kind of started hating, basically, on the original film, even though Rachel admitted that she had not seen it since she was a small child, and that she only watched it once, but it scared her, so she didn't want to watch it again.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once, and then I never picked it up again. I'm being so serious. I watched it once, and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again.
And they just started kind of piling on it, and a lot of Disney fans took great offense to this, because even though this attitude's actually kind of typical among a lot of people, including the people behind the previous live-action Disney princess films, Aladdin with Princess Jasmine, or Belle from Beauty and the Beast, and even recently with The Little Mermaid and Princess Ariel, of them saying that these characters are, very weak and passive and not interesting characters, that all they do is wait around for a man to rescue them, and so on and so forth. It's actually a very common attitude we see from these remakes and from people, but there has been a lot of pushback against Snow White specifically, and I think because they were so upfront about it, and they were so kind of in your face about it, like here.
With every second of it.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
So I think it's because they were so they kind of led with that. And I feel like the other ones didn't really lead with that, even though we do get countless articles talking about this. But a lot of hardcore Disney fans really kind of rejected this movie, and they just weren't going to stand for it. And I mean, personally, as someone, I've talked about this a lot on my channel, so I do appreciate that people are starting to push back more against this attitude, because I think the Disney princesses are really overhated. And I think that there's a lot to say about having a strong moral character, even in the face of adversity and abuse, even, really, like with Cinderella. And I've talked about this before. I'm sure you're all sick of me talking about this. But I appreciate that we are starting to see so much pushback. And I hope Disney learns from this. I really do. They also talk about some of the other controversies, like Peter Dinklage, which I've also talked about on this channel. Again, I think that he just hadn't seen the movie in a long time. saying that their portrayal of little people was perpetuating stereotypes, obviously, like right here. Literally no offense to anything, but I was sort of taken aback. They were very proud to cast a Latina actress as Snow White, but you're still telling a story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. So he's saying that Snow White just shouldn't be told, like at all, which I think is pretty extreme. But he was also saying things like the dwarves live in a cave and that was negative representation because of negative stereotypes. But again, I just think he hasn't seen the film in a long time because they did not live in a cave. They worked in a cave, they were miners, but they actually lived in a pretty nice cottage. But instead of defending their movie, they just let Dinklage spread a bunch of false information, and then actively made their live-action remake worse by replacing the dwarves with magical creatures and then CGI dwarves. Shortly following Dinklage's remarks, Disney said in a statement to Good Morning America to avoid reinforcing stereotypes from the original animated film. Again, I don't think that's a fair criticism of the original animated film, but I digress. We are taking a different approach to the 7 characters and have been consulting with members of the Dwarfism community. I'm not sure who they talked to because I don't think anyone was okay with them replacing the dwarves with 7 magical creatures. And many people spoke out about how they took away opportunities for people with dwarfism to have roles in this movie. You know, it's a big Disney Hollywood movie. I don't know. I just feel like Disney has a habit of listening to people who kind of have their own self-interest in mind rather than what's best for the company, in my opinion. I don't think that any of this was really about Disney caring about representation or inclusivity. I think this was more about them trying to get good press than anything else. And I think they probably thought that it would, be good optics and it would make them more money. And they found out the hard way that was very much not the case. It does go on to say that Zegler says that the passion behind the original film is what's causing all this backlash. And I do agree with that, obviously. She said, I interpret people's sentiments towards this film as passion. We're not always going to agree with everyone who surrounds us, and all we can do is our best. And I feel like if she had had that attitude going into it to begin with, things probably wouldn't have escalated to the point where they did. I think it's a shame that things ended up the way they did. Disney probably could have prepped them better, in my opinion. I'm not sure what kind of PR training they got, but I think it could have been a lot more cordial. So yeah, now it's come to this where they're just not having the premiere basically, or it's just going to be very small and with in-house reporters instead of actually being the typical media fair that we always see with movie premieres. I do hope that Disney will learn from this, but this is where we're at right now. I don't know if there's any salvaging Snow White, honestly. I don't know how forgiving people are going to be, because I think a lot of this could have been avoided. I really do. But hopefully we'll get a little more respect for the Disney princesses from Disney. But those were my thoughts. This was a very different video. It's unscripted, obviously. I just saw this article and I wanted to talk about it. Let me know if you're interested in seeing more just off-the-cuff videos like this. Let me know. Also, let me know about what you think of this whole premiere fiasco. I think it's a very interesting situation, and I will see you next time. Bye for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to our members: Tyrant Carnivore, Shiny Orc Boy, Depth Charge Media, Samaru163, Gabby Hime, Verdant Range, JVR, Equestron, Norman Sweet Cream, Way Beyond Coincidence, Hunter Rose, 80s Nostalgia Guy, Felix Bam, Lucas Geist, J Draws, Meowsers, Sky, Philip, Isaac Martinez, Garcia XV Legend, Tobias Weller, Bandito Bane, Mac B909, Dakari the Professor, Todd McCaffrey, Omni Fair, General Bolivar, Cavalcoj, Strider Exile, Phil C, Killer Bomb, Owen Wildish, Slawa Saporiguez, Entwined Boot 301, Griffin of Might, Frankie Camarillo, Datadyne Executive, and Crimson Phantom. Thank you for the support. And if you want to become a member, you can hit the join button next to the subscribe button. We also have Buy Me Coffee if you want to support us that way. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And that part's free. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.